What's this say here? My sources say the listing for a new head of Assassin's Creed located the job in Paris?
I don't feel so good.
What is up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the ever-charming Dr. Disaster. And the other day, I talked about the Ubisoft stock price and how, after the terrible news that they have gotten over the past month, their shares have dropped down over 20% since the beginning of the month. The people are looking at the crater made by this lowering number and going,
"Wow! What a hole!"
To recap, the announcement as to what their partnership with Tencent was going to look like finally happened, and we got confirmation that the main body of Ubisoft had lost control over the Assassin's Creed franchise alongside Far Cry and Rainbow Six. So basically, their best IP. And then we learned that they had canceled an Assassin's Creed game that was going to be set during the American Civil War. And they canceled it because they were afraid of more backlash, similar to what they got with Assassin's Creed Shadows, which was a tacit admission that Shadows was a massive failure. And as a company, they looked at the potential for more controversy and realized that if this happened again,
We are going to die!
well, that wasn't even the extent of all the news that has been sucking out the small bit of life still remaining at Ubisoft. News came out that Mark Alexis Cote, the creative director of the Assassin's Creed franchise, was no longer with the company. Naturally, the mainstream media played this off with headlines like this, where they made it seem like the dude just decided out of the blue that he wanted to leave the company.
I'm going on an adventure!
But in reality, the dude admitted the other day that he was pushed out of the company, and now, to make matters worse, it is really starting to look like the long-anticipated layoffs at Ubisoft might be coming sometime soon, as Stephen Totillo of the outlet GameFile wrote here on X regarding the drama around Ubisoft's head of the Assassin's Creed franchise. The biggest Assassin's Creed games are made in Canada. The now former head of Assassin's Creed was based in Canada. My sources say the listing for a new head of Assassin's Creed located the job in Paris. Folks, hang on to your hats and grab a bucket of popcorn, because if this is true, then it seems very likely that the Ubisoft layoff bloodbath is likely on its way as Ubisoft prepares to trim the fat and remove satellite studios outside of their main headquarters who aren't pulling their weight. And while this is going on, never mind the guy laughing his ass off and dancing on their ashes, we all know who that is.
Well, of course I know him. He's me.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've had a lot of people tell me that they have been unwillingly unsubscribed to this channel, so make sure you look into that. And also, give me a follow over on X, where my handle is Dr. Disaster1, and if you feel like supporting the channel and helping to keep the lights on, consider becoming a member for as little as $5 per month. But let's dive on into this news about Ubisoft and what it might mean for the company. So, I should start this whole thing off by pointing out that the leader of a team, someone like a creative director, is very rarely ever located somewhere away from his team. A corporation wants their guy to be near the team that he's working with so he can be as hands-on as possible with everyone. So, seeing this tweet here set off alarm bells for me. The biggest Assassin's Creed games are made in Canada, but the listing for the new head of Assassin's Creed is in Paris? That tells us that Ubisoft is planning to make their biggest Assassin's Creed games in Europe. Vantage Studios is going to be an amalgamation of a whole bunch of Ubisoft studios located all over the place, but mostly in Canada and France. What it sounds like from what I'm reading here, and we're going to look at an article that was written by Stephen Totilo, where he talks about this information that he got from his sources to clarify everything. But what it looks like to me is that Ubisoft is intending to consolidate their studio muscle into Europe. If I were a Ubisoft employee in Canada where they made Assassin's Creed Shadows, I would be pretty nervous about what the future holds, in the same way that they ditched Mark Alexis Cote for the failure of Shadows. I wouldn't be at all surprised to hear that most of the people at Ubisoft Quebec and Ubisoft Montreal were being let go. They would likely keep some of the really talented developers who were willing to relocate to Europe, but the bloodbath seems likely to be coming. Anyhow, let's read this piece here from Stephen Totilo in his game file outlet, which I will link in the description. He starts off by talking about some other game called Ball Pit, but if we scroll down to here, he begins talking about Ubisoft. At this point in the article, he begins talking about how Mark Alexis Cote admitted that Ubisoft essentially fired him. The article says here, on LinkedIn yesterday, Cote said he was grateful for his run at the company, but wanted to address confusion from peers about the idea he'd have chosen to leave Assassin's Creed. He wrote, Ubisoft decided to transfer the leadership of the Assassin's Creed franchise to someone closer to its new organizational structure. A different position was mentioned, but it did not carry the same scope, mandate, or continuity with the work I had been entrusted with in recent years. In an earlier post on LinkedIn this week, Cote had celebrated his 15-year run on the franchise. Assassin's Creed has given me everything: unforgettable projects, extraordinary colleagues, and the chance to grow alongside a studio that earned its wings through this franchise. I've also been humbled by fans around the world who shared how our games made them feel seen, inspired, or curious about the past. Those moments reminded me of the true power of what we create together. And I just want to pause really quick here and say that, for once, I think Ubisoft made the correct decision in getting rid of this idiot. For Pete's sake, look at that language. He loves how the games they created made fans feel seen. That is the sort of woke terminology that I have grown extremely wary of over the years. That language makes it pretty clear what kind of guy this is. The fact that Assassin's Creed Shadows turned out the way it did, with Yasuke coming in and making sure that black folks feel seen in feudal Japan, well, it isn't at all surprising when you hear this jackass talk. But anyhow, here is where the article actually gets interesting. It says here, one hint of how things around the role of Assassin's Creed franchise director have changed is the job's location. The new Vantage subsidiary consists of studios that are focused on Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. Those studios are located in Canada, where Cote is based, Spain, and Bulgaria, but a job listing for the new head of the Assassin's Creed franchise that was posted over the summer nevertheless listed the job as being based in Paris, France, where Ubisoft is headquartered, according to GameFile sources familiar with the description. This tells us an awful lot about what the plans are for Vantage Studios. The team is going to be located near where the boss is located, I'm willing to bet. That is simply how that sort of thing typically works out. And while it may end up that these Canadian studios aren't completely shut down or anything like that, at this point it sounds like their days of working on major Assassin's Creed projects might be numbered. This stage right now that Ubisoft appears to be going through seems like the evaluation stage, where a big company goes through their thousands of employees and decides who's worth keeping and who needs to go. Obviously, on the outside, they're going to make it seem like everything is hunky-dory at Ubisoft, and they're going to make it seem like nobody's going to lose their jobs, but keep in mind that only half a year ago, this company had to sell out a quarter of their most valuable IP to Tencent just to keep the lights on. And if you want to truly understand what someone is up to, don't just listen to their words, you have to pay attention to their actions. If they are relocating the head of Assassin's Creed onto a whole different continent, then you can see what they are planning. What's funny to me, though, is how this is just one more bit of evidence that Assassin's Creed Shadows was in fact the flop that we've been saying it was for a long time. Successful games aren't followed up by potential studio closures and the head of the franchise being removed. Like I said, folks, grab some popcorn and pour one out for bad taste, because the people responsible for Assassin's Creed Shadows may soon realize that there are consequences for their actions. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your mockery of Ubisoft into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.